With Death Race 2000, I was the art director, prop master. I drove the truck, and if I wanted to have lunch, I got up early and made it. All the landscapes, believe it or not, everything was basically done behind Magic Mountain. It's on, and we could make a deal, basically make a financial arrangement with the Standard Oil Company, and they let us have like 100 acres, and we could go all over the place. We stole some stuff from downtown, literally on the freeway on a Sunday. Then at that time when we were shooting, the 2 freeway for years was empty. In other words, it was not opened up for several years because it didn't have walls, it didn't have center dividers and everything, and we could use that. Then the other thing was down in Orange County, the IRS had built this building. It's called a ziggurat. In other words, it's built upside down, and we used it for the very end of the show, and they had abandoned it. In other words, here's this beautiful modern building, and it was totally abandoned. Our tax dollars in action, but in any case, and so we used that because it was practically free.
This is Grace Pander from St. Louis, where Matilda, a dear friend of mine, is receiving a well-deserved rub-down.
What we did was we took whatever we could. There's a scene, we used the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, and we had a room that was as big as a basketball court, and we turned that into a bedroom. You know, 1 bedroom for Carradine and Simone, and a little bit of space. And then there was one scene where we found in the basement this huge hallway that just went on forever, and that's where we had the massage parlor. In other words, where everybody was sort of laid out, and it just went on forever. Big, huge thing, and that was done at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium. And then just what's interesting is that the auditorium itself is done in Greek Revival, but down underneath in the basement, it's very modern, and they're just passageways and long sort of modern things. And actually, anytime we saw something that was sort of modern and out of the way while we were on location, we would, go for it. There was no real location scout. I think one day we drove around and said, well, we'll do this here, and we'll do that there, and we'll do this here, the day before we started shooting. But other than, it's not like, a location scout for a film that I know of today, where everybody piles in, and they meticulously figure out what they're going to do. This was strictly off the cuff and run and gun.
Frankenstein, stop right now. We want to talk to you.
We also shot in, we got Rattan, the airplane designer. He landed his plane on a little dirt road. In other words, it's a very futuristic plane. We're shooting out there in Mojave, and he landed the plane on a little dirt road. We talked to him, we told him what we wanted to do, and he would strafe the cars with his plane. The cars, the big problem that I had was keeping them put together because I worked the show, keeping the fiberglass together. Big problem we had was the teeth coming out of the Dragon were always getting broken off. I had to glue them back.
When I interviewed with Roger Corman, he described the project. I thought that would be pretty exciting. And then he told me what the budget was, and I thought, not quite as exciting. Then I told him, there's no way we can do these cars with this sort of budget. And of course he looked up at me and he said, okay, take it or leave it. The only way out was to buy some used cars and cobble them. Basically the cheapest cars we could find, and do as little as possible to try to get a personality or an effect out of each car. And of course, to achieve the whole purpose of the theme of the death race, which meant that each car had to have capability of impaling pedestrians as the race went across the country.
Those cars were wide open, no roll cage, no roll bars, no nothing. Just you crashed and that's the end of it. Because first of all, there's no roll cages or nothing on any of those cars. They were just thrown together and we did it, you know. The object was to try to do some real wild, well, like 100-mile-an-hour stuff. That car couldn't go no 100 miles an hour. So we had to kind of boost it up all the way through on that, and then come up with all different kinds of neat shots and crashes and stuff like that. So it was real good. It was a neat thing to do.
Probably the car that is most well known is the Bull car, and was actually used in the advertising. And I thought it probably ended up being more successful, even on a tight budget, as having a little drama and impact. And of course, the horns were a natural for impaling the pedestrians.
I want to get on the road, make a few more scores. My bloodlust is fading.
I'm almost finished, Calamity, sweetheart. We'll be back on the road in no time. Then we'll cream that Nazi's ass for her.
What you say? 60!
I thought the movie was fun, and that was my impression, and my objective to begin with was to make a spoof. And it was never a serious sort of thing in my mind, and of course years passed and proved that to be true, that it was the ultimate spoof.
Well, the movie itself, I thought it was a cheapy, corny movie. Then after I get involved with this thing, especially even today, that thing was a lot of different stuff. We did some things that they had never done. So I thought that was very neat, the way that all turned out, without bucks, without big deals. We just did it day by day, and that's my look at it, you know.
I am amazed that it has survived. In other words, I'm amazed that I have cult films that people enjoy. I mean, we're talking 35 years ago. That's a long time, and it's just amazing that people still watch it, and I'm glad that they enjoy it. In other words, I regard myself as an entertainer. I'm in the entertainment business, And there we are. In other words, and please enjoy the film, and you know, have some fun. Don't take it too seriously, because nobody else did. Just enjoy it. Have a cup of coffee or any other adult beverage, and away you go.
Women are still worth 10 points more than men in all age brackets, but teenagers now rack up 40 points, and toddlers under 12 now rate a big 70 points. The big score, anyone, any sex, over 75 years old, has been upped to 100 points.